Yo, 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 this is Marvin Priest and this is One for the Road. You done know.
Yo, right now, this is William Gone and this is One for the Road. You heard?
What it do, y'all? It's your boy Legend, and you were listening to another One for the Road, alright? Let's get it.
Overnight, man, this is the entertainment industry. Overnight, you can either
From that, his streams
become a big deal or it's doubled, has it?
It doubled. He extended his tour. He made millions more dollars and stuff. And he did an interview.
Yeah.
And in the interview, he said that was my biggest moment in my career so far.
And you captured that moment.
Yeah, I mean, we were
It's huge,
just like that night, that guy who filmed your special and kind of messed it up. Like,
Yeah.
we were the opposite of that. We had multiple angles. I've had all these over a decade of experience, and we were there with the right cameras, the right settings, the audio was right, and it became like we were there to capture it, and it happened. And we had this divine moment in the interview where the first question of Justine, who my great friend, she it was her first interview ever with like this massive star. Yeah, because I was like, I'm not interviewing. Wow. Like I'm a camera guy. Like I'm a
wow.
And then she jumped on and she goes, "We're going to kind of ask you some of the different questions, not the everyday ones. So when did you feel like you really made it as a musician?" And then he said, when the streams happened, and then later on that night, he had that moment. So it was like, I believe in the spiritual world quite a lot, So like, not everything.
Well, when I'm like stoned or on mushrooms.
That's a whole another dimension.
God, are you here?
Yes, I am. It's like, who the hell was that?
Yeah. Like, I must be gone.
And the devil's here too.
Hey, buddy. You guys want to fight it out? Go for it. No, I see what you mean, man. It's it's a beautiful moment. And it's when you capture it and you can show it to people instead of explaining it, because I think it's different. When you go through something and then you explain it to people, and they're like, "Huh?" And then you're like, "Let me show it to you," and then they can see the facial expressions. And
I was buying like secondhand hard drives like on Facebook Marketplace. Like I do, I get a lot of stuff, Facebook Marketplace, like for media, right?
Yeah.
And everyone's seeing the real.
Yeah.
Like, that's you? Like, you filmed that?
Yeah.
I'm like, hey man, can you give me a job? Or don't have to pay me. Like, get me involved. And I'm like, wow, like this has traveled. And I'm like, everyone's seen it.
Yeah. When I saw it, I watched it like 4 times maybe.
I think I pin a comment or something.
I think you did. Yeah. Well, yeah, man, I comment on all of your shit, to be honest, or most of it, anyways.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
I just love seeing, the progress from when we first met to now, and I'm like, holy shit. You've got like a massive following now on Instagram and all that.
Yeah, yeah. But
what's it feel like to make it? To you, I'm asking.
I don't think it's made it yet. I think when we're doing the podcast, we're doing the Take Ones, the rap series, when I'm interviewing people like yourself that I really admire, like you bring happiness to my life, and to others, and I go, I've made a life for myself. Yeah. But I think there's going to be a moment, and it's going to be not just me, but it's going to be the platform. It's going to be Australia, where the music artists, the actors, the filmmakers, the photographers, the comedians, the athletes, we all become just who we really need to be, and Australia becomes its own place of just expression and authenticity.
Yeah. So,
with you, man, like it's I've seen your progression, and but then when I saw you like 4 or 5 years ago.
Have we started recording already?
Yeah, we're recording. Yeah. It's like Joe Rogan vibes. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, a little bit, It's always changing and evolving, just like your sets.
Yeah.
Well, here we are, another one for the road. We've got Joe Prince in the building, man. Big. I don't know. He's a funny guy, man.
Thanks,
I don't know what he's like in real life.
Boring.
But,
I get deep and philosophical and shit, and people go, "This is way too serious." I thought I was supposed to laugh the whole time, not, think about life and.
This is going to be a catastrophe, man, because I pick up on energy, bro, and I think being a comedian, it's like being a musician. You got to know how to sing notes, right? Or you got to know tempo and cadence. There's something about comedy that you can't quite explain.
No.
But there's something about it, and I really admire it.
Yeah.
When did you realize that you could make people laugh, and how did that make you feel?
And you know what? It's you realize it with your friends first. So I realized it with my family and friends, because those are obviously the first people in your life, you know, where you get so comfortable and confident around because you spend a lot of time with them, and you're like, I don't care what you think of me. And so then you go, all right, well, you start teasing each other, but you're fully, let loose and just having a good time. You don't care whether you do well or not. You just, you're just having fun being present. And, they tell you, oh man, you're funny. You should go be a comedian, or you should try stand up, at a later stage. Anyways, that's what happened with me. So it first started with my family and my friends. And we didn't have TV or anything. So, the way we grew up is when we get bored to entertain each other, there's 6 of us, we just like sit around and we go, okay, time to start the teasing. You're versing him and you're versing him, and go. And it's to see who can tease who the most. And the winner is decided by who gets laughed at the most, And no one used to pick on me. I used to always pick who I want to go up against. And I used to always choose my older brother. For whatever reason, I just felt he was an easy target, But when he got mad, I had to run out of the room, or mom would come in perfect time and be like, stop choking your brother, So that's
And
that's how it started.
Where were you growing up?
So I was born in Sudan, in Khartoum. I was born in Tuawa, which is a refugee camp on the border of Sudan and Ethiopia. And we moved from there to the capital city, Khartoum, and I grew up in Khartoum. Yeah, so from the age of about 7, 6, I was in Khartoum for about 4 years before we migrated to Perth, Australia. Yeah.
So you're speaking, obviously, Arabic.
Yeah, our first language was Arabic.
And dissing each other in Arabic.
Yeah. Dude, my Arabic now is 10%, but when I first came here, that was pretty much, my first language. So the way I'm speaking English now is how I spoke Arabic when I first came here in 1998. But, you come to a new country from, a place like Khartoum, and the way we grew up, which is, like sleeping on the streets. We were homeless for nearly 2 years. We ate out of bins to survive. And, our dad left the family when I was around the 4 years old, 4 or 5 years old. And so mom had to take care of us. And it was just ups and downs. There was all this stuff that happened around us, especially when we were homeless and we were vulnerable, and just the fact that we survived, to me, is a big deal. Is like, I can't believe it, right? And so I had no idea that this world existed, the way people live here, how happy, people are. I had no idea things were the way they are. So when we came here, not only are you now trying to familiarize yourself with this new environment and going, holy shit, am I here? Am I gonna, at any time, are they gonna, knock on the door and be like, hey, Ashton Kutcher, you've been punked, you're going back to Sudan, you never know. So the whole time, not only are you trying to just adapt to this new environment and this new level of safety that you're afforded and opportunities, but also it's like the language you speak, Arabic, no one speaks it around you. No one spoke Arabic except for my family. Like when I stepped out of the house or when I went to school and stuff like that, there's no one speaking Arabic, So then it becomes a challenge now because everyone else speaks English around you. So, you're trying to speak English and it's hard. You can't communicate. There's that fear of being sent back. And so slowly, I had just had enough growing up. I was like, bugger this, I'm going to learn English and trade English for Arabic. As a young man, I'm thinking, I don't need Arabic anymore. I'm not in Sudan, but I need English and I need to know it quick. So I flipped it, and unfortunately, that's what happened. So I speak like 10% Arabic now. That's just a long way of me telling you.
Amazing. No, it's good. This is what this is what it's for. It's a platform, bro.
Yeah.
Like, just let people know. It's amazing. So you flipped tragedy and pain into laughs and entertainment when you were, over in Sudan, and then you flipped your language and communication and your skills. So you're learning to just go, what's the most important thing at the time?
Yeah.
It's like this survivability. Going back to when you're growing up, man, like it just blows my mind because like I'm born in Melbourne. And
yeah, nice.
Yeah, man.
So, well, It's a little bit like
we're balling,
Sudan.
man. You know,
It's
of
a
course,
little bit.
bro. No,
I've been in Footscray. It's
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit like Sudan. A little bit.
you got to go to Frankston, I think, or Dandenong. I don't know. Yeah, but it's so different. I just want to know, like, what are some of the things? So you were how old? 4 or 5 when you were there?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when we were
Formative years.
Yeah, when we were in the refugee camp in Tawawa, well, I think we left when I was about 5 or 6 years old. We made it into Khartoum, which is a few hours from Tawawa. That dad left the family in the refugee camp, and that's because in the camp we had everything. We had a nice house. It wasn't anything flashy. It was like built from sticks, but it was a nice house. It had, when you have a fan in your house, that's considered wealthy. So we had a fan that was spinning, keep you cool. We had like 2 beds, that the whole family shared. Dad worked in like cutting tires and taking the rubber and turning the rubber into shoes or flip flops, and sold that. That's how he made his money. And he could afford to pay a babysitter to help mom, because mom had at the time I believe she had 5 kids, right? And we're all 1.5 to 2 years apart, so she had her hands full, and so he hired a babysitter here and there to help her out. And one of the babysitters accidentally, while making Ethiopian coffee, burnt the house down, right? And the house, because it's made out of stick, it just lit up like a Christmas tree, and we lost everything. We only had time for my mom and her to grab the kids, and dad was at work and everything. So we lost everything. So dad comes home from work, sees he's lost everything, and he has to rebuild. And I think that struggle itself led him to abuse alcohol, or go to alcohol for comfort and abuse it. And eventually he became alcoholic, he became abusive. One thing led to another. He left the family.
People in Australia abuse alcohol because the taxes are too high.
Yeah.
They get a speeding fine. Oh, I may as well have a 6-pack tonight.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know what? It's an illness. Like as a grown man, I've just come to understand it's an illness, and I think part of that also helps me understand and forgive my dad.
Yeah.
Because for a long time you just think, oh, what a piece of shit, blah 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 blah. You should have. But then eventually you just go, you see alcoholics, they shake when they look at the alcohol, and they just want to get it in their mouth, and it's an illness.
Maybe he felt like he was not worthy or something. Like it was more of a shameful thing.
Yeah. So
that's as a man, you know what I mean? Like
I understand and I forgive.
Wow.
But it's when he left in a country like that, when it becomes a single household income, and mom wasn't even working, she was staying at home. So to survive, she would sell things. And eventually we just ran out of things to sell. So she just said, we just have to go to the capital city. I have this idea. We can potentially apply for refugee status and get out of this country. But that in itself was like, I'm going to go cut lotto with the millions of other people, and hopefully I win the $100 million lotto. You know what I mean? So it's a ridiculous idea.
So the information comes through to the camps, and people say there are opportunities. People talk and they say, "What you can get to America. You can leave.
You can go to
Is there a stigma
Western
behind
world.
Western world? Is there like a stigma behind that? It was like, oh, are you trying to get to the Western world, or is it like, nah, everyone's just trying to get there?
No, there's no stigma. Everyone's like, if you can get out, get out. What awaits is heaven on the other side of the world. That's the idea behind just trying to live, because everyone's situation is equally terrible, right? So people do their best, to try and help the next person next to them, because they can see the person is doing bad. And I guess the humanitarian side, if you can give someone half of your biscuit to keep them going, life and death situation, you would. So there is people like that, but everyone also is struggling, and no one has the privileges like to really go above and beyond in helping. So if there is an opportunity to get out and go to the Western world, jump on it. There's no stigma or
What? Yeah, no, I don't know.
no.
I was thinking maybe like there's like, you got to keep it real and kind of be here, but everyone's just like, nah, this is life and death.
Yeah,
let's live.
You wake up one morning and you're like, where's Johnny? He's gone. That's the life there, man. Everyone's trying to get out. And so when we went to Sudan, we didn't expect it to be as horrible as it was. The capital city, Khartoum, this is our situation. We didn't expect our situation to get worse, right? So when we got there, We couldn't find accommodation. Mom couldn't find a job, so we became homeless and we lived on the streets. We would beg to get food, or we would look through bins to get food.
And you were like 5 years old.
At this age, I probably would have been going 6, 7 years old. At this age, yeah.
That I've got a 6-year-old daughter. Like she's a human now.
Yeah,
she's a big girl, you know.
Yeah.
So you would have been a little man. Like
yeah. She would have.
you would have remembered some of these things.
100%. If she was in Sudan, she'd have a full-time job, man. 6, 7 years old.
I remember, like, you know, going on the green car or the red car, the Ferris wheel, man. Like, you know, that shit.
Oh, no way. You used to work it?
No, but I'm saying, like, these kind of childhood memories, man. Like these are instilled in you. So
yes,
this is just powerful, man.
People say, "Oh, you remember?" I'm like, "Yeah, I remember." Sometimes I surprise my mum. You know, I'm like, "Mum, remember that abandoned house we slept in, and there was like snakes roaming around, and we had no windows, no doors, and then I don't know what happened. We just ran away." And she goes, "You remember that night?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Dude, you were like 7 years old." I'm like, "Yeah, I remember that night."
Yeah.
I remember a lot about my childhood, you know?
Yeah.
But here, it's a different world. When you tell people, they're like, "Whoa, no, there's no way you would remember. My son's 7. He doesn't remember what happened to him." I'm like, "Yeah, because it's probably
like, yeah,
not
it's only a
traumatic."
few things. But then if it's traumatic, you would definitely...
You remember traumas,
Yeah. So you guys came to Australia, your family came to Australia, and your mum as well, and everyone. And then it seems like she would kind of just be like, "Let's do this, let's do that." Is that what happened? Did you guys kind of just work things out and go, "There's support there, let's use it"?
Yeah.
Because I've heard some of your skits.
Yeah, dude.
Tell me. Yeah.
I just talk. That's what my comedy is just really talking about my traumas and, you know, using comedy to sort of break it down and take the piss out of it so it doesn't have a hold on me. You know what I mean? So I'm like, people go, "Man, look at you. You're happy and you're smiling, but you've been through all of this." I'm like, yeah, because I make fun of it. It doesn't have a hold on me, you know?
Yeah.
If I was wallowing in my pain and sorrow, or if I told you everything fact for fact to what happened, in exactly what happened, you'd probably go, "This is not funny. You need to go again get therapy." But I'm like, "Oh, I do therapy. My comedy is my therapy," you know? But yeah, like a lot of the jokes that I do is about like our challenges there, but also our challenges here, you know? Integrating, which people can relate, you know? You have immigrant friends who, you know, you would have met their parent and their parents probably remind you of the stories that I share about my mom, you know, English being so hard for her, the mispronunciation between, the two languages, Arabic and English. And, you know, for example, when we came here, we spoke Arabic. The word kiss in Arabic means plastic or plastic bag, right? So if you want kiss here, you don't say "give me kiss," you say "give me plastic bag."
Yeah.
But, you know, my mom doesn't fathom this. She just goes, she buys stuff and then she tells the guy to give her a kiss. And the guy's looking at her like, "You're not going to get a kiss." And she's like, "I want a kiss."
Excuse me?
Yeah, she's a very determined woman.
That's crazy,
If I want a kiss, I will get a kiss. That's my mom, right? And so I'm standing there going, "You don't want a kiss, Mom?"
Yeah,
I'm not looking for a stepdad. But
he's probably thinking about, hey, you know,
yeah, there's that, and then there is.
He's probably never had that experience before. He's probably thinking differently about the kind of person he wants to get with, man. Like,
I'm like, I don't want a dad. I'm cool. I'm already in Australia now. I can take care of myself. But like, even
wow.
When a lot of my jokes, people go, "Oh, how do you come up with this stuff?" I'm like, man, I only come up with 10%, right? For example, when I picked her up from work and, you know, we're literally driving home. So when I'm in Perth, you know, I pick up my mom from work and I drop her off and, you know, we'll be driving and she'll just wanting to have a conversation and she'll just be like, "Oh, what?" She wants to ask me, "What did I do today?" But she'll go, what today? And she'll mumble on her words, you know, "What today?" And she'll mess up the grammar. What today do my son, you? What today do you? You know,
it's difficult.
Yeah, and I'm like,
but it sounds,
you got it wrong.
It's cute, like, you know, it's like a child, like
it's adorable.
It's adorable.
Yeah, and because we have like 30 minutes drive, I'm like, you know what? Like, let me just help her with that bit. To me, it's simple. It's like, "What did you do today?" But I'm like, so let me just help her with it. I'm like, "Mom, we'll have half an hour drive. Let's turn off the radio. Let's just practice, you know? What did you do today? Go ahead, say it." And she goes, she still gets it wrong. And then she just goes, don't worry. I'm like, "Keep going, Mom. It's all right. We have half an hour. We're not going to do anything."
And then how old are you when you're in?
Oh, this is probably about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so-
but it's more difficult for her because she's like older and she's grown up with Arabic more of her life. So then,
Well, she speaks Amharic. That's her first
Amharic.
language is Amharic, which is the language Ethiopians speak. So my mom's, like she's a true blue Ethiopian. So she speaks to us in Amharic. That's how I learn Amharic. And my dad speaks to us in Tigrinya, which is the language of the Tigray people, which is
Yeah,
the
I've
north
heard
part of
yeah.
Ethiopia. So we learned Tigrinya from him, and then we learned Arabic by just obviously being in Sudan. And so when we came here, we learned English by being here, but we still spoke Tigrinya and Amharic with mum with just mum because we can bounce ideas with her. But just with that bit, we're trying to teach her how to say, "What did you do today?" Yeah, she struggles, right? And then she just goes, "What dude did you do today?" And I started laughing, right?
What dude did you do today?
Yeah, and I started laughing, and I was driving and laughing, and I was like, man.
Done. That's your bit. You're helping her with her bit, and you get a
Yeah.
bit for your show.
And then I walk away, and I'm like, okay, cool. How do I turn that into a bit? Because I laughed so hard, and mom laughed so hard, and that's a genuine moment that we had together, and a lot of people can relate. Trying to help your mom or dad, transition into the Australian way of life. The first thing is the language, and trying to help them with that. And then you have this moment, of laughter. It's beautiful. And I share that with everyone. And that's how I come up with my comedy. It's from my everyday experience.
You're breaking down the communication barriers through laughter and
Yeah.
happiness, rather than confrontation and not understanding.
Yeah.
Same with kind of music. It's like, but I think comedy, it's just conversation, reality, but there's an art to it. How did you discover the art to comedy, and did you have any influences? Because obviously, you're saying your family, you said, well, let's laugh at each other, and then maybe you got feedback there.
Yeah.
But when did you start to go, you're a comedian now?
Yeah.
That's a big, it's when someone says, I'm a music artist.
Yeah.
You are a comedian. You are an amazing, hilarious human
Oh,
being
thanks, man.
comedian.
Jesus, man. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm going to
The
get
vi-
my...
But I'm on
management to
Instagram.
give you
I'm
100
laughing.
bucks.
I'm
Awesome,
laughing
man.
my head off,
Appreciate
bro. There's no one around. I'm laughing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, bro, it's fucking hilarious, right?
Yeah.
When-
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no worries. when did you go, okay, I'm going to become I'm going to take this seriously? And how did you work out like how to structure your story so you build up to that point of laughter?
Yeah.
Because it's a
Thanks,
skill.
man. It's a good question. And I used to work in banking before I went into comedy.
Jesus.
Yes, I was working
What a
in
joke.
complex lending when it comes to like business home lending and all that stuff. So it was very different to comedy.
Yeah.
And my mom was very proud that I had that. And then I ended up in giving that up and doing comedy, and all because I randomly saw a psychic lady, right? And we don't believe in psychics because I grew up Orthodox Christian. If you tell people about psychics, they'll be like, it's the devil. If like I told my mom, and my mom's like, please, you must not see that lady again. That is very bad. You
Bad
will go
juju.
to hell. Yes, she says bad juju. But I'm like, I'm just having fun. I'm at a stage in my life. I'm going
A little
through
bit.
stuff.
The psychics are pretty trippy. Like,
It's pretty trippy, yeah.
Like-
Especially when what they tell you comes true, or when they know things that no one should know about you except you, because you haven't shared it with anyone. And then, bam, they know it, and you're like, hold on, something's going on here. And so, what do? We're naturally curious beings. We go digging deeper and deeper and deeper. Before you know it, you're like, I'm convinced.
yeah,
something is in play.
I had an experience, but I was like in a weird place in my life, and
Yeah.
I wasn't open to that.
Okay.
And then the psychic kind of like just started crying. But they were almost
the psychic
crying
started crying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
it was almost like they were crying for me.
Yeah. Okay. I
Because
see
they
what
were
you
like,
mean.
there's something blocked in this person's life. And I
Yeah.
feel like there was this connection, just like comedy.
The way they looked at you,
Yeah.
or they look
and
at you.
reflection. So there is
Yeah.
power in that. Yeah. So, okay, sorry,
Yeah, the
go on.
way she looked at me and told me to give comedy a go is what made me go and give it a go. You know, when someone looks at you and it's like, man, what do you know that I don't know, that you're looking at me like, you know, that you believe in me so much, when I'm like, I'm not going to go on stage and do stand up in front of strangers, you know? And they're like, no, you have to do it. You're going to be good at it. You're going to be successful. You must do it. If you don't do it, you're going to be an old man, regret the way you lived your whole life, you know? And when you do it and you become successful, which I know you will, don't forget me, you know? And you're like, what? And then you leave, and then she sent me a message and she's like, you have to do it, please, you know? And I was like, all right, I'll go and do it. And she pointed me to certain ways of how to go and do it, and it ended up coming true. And I went and you know, did it, and my first 5 minutes, it was, yeah, people were clapping. And I've never experienced that type of, you know, euphoria before. You know, I created something and I'm delivering it publicly, and the response is laughter and applause. And I was just standing there like, I'm alive. You know, you can't explain it. You can only experience it.
Dave Chappelle had the same experience. His first show was, what do they call it? They killed it?
Yeah, killed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I didn't bomb on my first show.
Bomb.
Yeah. So killed it. And then I was driving home and I was just like, oh, this is amazing feeling. I have found my purpose. And it's beautiful. You know, we're all like, there's a lot of us here walking around on this earth.
I would have loved to see you in that car, bro. You look like a madman. Like,
I looked like a madman. I was crying and shit. Like, my life's going to be amazing. I found something I love, you know.
Wow.
And then a year in, 2 years in, I was like, screw banking, you know.
Yeah. And then you had to transition, but you seem like a very intelligent person. I mean, comedians themselves, like, they're just another kind of whole entity. But you would have gone, maybe, I've got banking. You would have been working. You're fine. Your family's stable. Your mum, intelligent. She knows what everyone's going on. So you've settled yourself in Australia. You know English.
Yeah.
You found your gift and your passion, and it worked.
Yeah.
Then, how did you transition from banking to full-time comedy?
Yeah, well, just like anything, you know, you don't just do it straight away. Like, I think you should definitely, when you go into a new venture, you don't just leave your full-time job. You know, you secure a full-time job that you worked years to get into, and you're getting promotions and...
See you later, motherfuckers.
Yeah, you don't just go peace and just leave. It doesn't work like that, because then what if that's not what you're supposed to do?
We've got to shoot a video, bro. We have to, on some, you know, scene like that, man, because I know it's in you, man.
Yeah, let's do it, man. You know, the problem with me is I travel around a lot, so I'm trying to like find the time where I'm stable in one place and shoot something. So when I do that in Melbourne, definitely I'll reach out, you know. But like when I left, it wasn't easy. It was probably one of the hardest decisions I had to make to leave the bank. You know, it was at a stage where I was going through a stage where I was like, I got to find my purpose in my life. You know, I went through a heartbreak, and then I was in a stage where I'm like, I can't just go into another relationship. I have to heal, but also I have to find what it is that makes me happy, what my purpose is on this earth, you know, who I am, what my values are, and I need to just look within and find tools to help me look within. And I think that's the most important thing. People go, yeah, okay, I'm going to spend time with myself and look within. But it's like, how are you doing it? What tools are you using to do it? Because that really is what gives you clarity. The tools that you use is what really brings out what you need to explore within you, so that you know yourself, right? And so I spent, you know, like a year doing all this self-help stuff, and you know, trying this project and that project, going down this venture and that venture, and I read a lot, and I wanted to be. I wanted to impact, and the outcome that I had, the outcome that I came to is that I want to impact on this world. Like, I want to do something so people know that I came this way. I want to do something. I want to change people's life, and I want people to go, wow, Joe, yeah, I know Joe. He changed my life, or this is what he did, you know, and it was amazing. And so I don't want to just die and be forgotten. You know, that's like one of the weird fears that I have, is that I'll be forgotten. So I'm like, what can I do to leave my mark in this world? But I want to do it in a way where I impact it in a positive way. I impact people. And so I started doing it individually, you know, just being nice to people. Every day when I leave the house, I'm nice to people. I go donate blood. I go and visit old people's homes and spend time with them, and just donate, using my time and blood and interactions with people. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm impacting people, you know? So now, to find a tool like comedy where I do it on a mass scale, where I impact people in a good way, You know, not all of them, because some people will be like, that joke's offensive. And so I've impacted them in a negative way, but I understand that now. But
How
now
did you break that? Like, because Australia, man, like coming from Africa, looking different, sounding different, not knowing English that well, and then you're saying you're a comedian. I mean, even working in the banks, you probably went through the gauntlet and kind of like just worked out how to just manage. Because Australia, I feel like will be really harsh and really horrible, but the precipice is like, go on, show us, just fucking stand up for yourself, mate. Come on.
Yeah.
Vibes. I feel like now, back maybe 5 years ago, even 10 years ago, it's like still, I don't know. But like, how did you
navigating it?
Navigate
Definitely
it.
wasn't easy, you know, like
and
there wasn't many
not
people
just
that
be
looked
navigated,
like
but
me,
you be happy.
Yeah, not just assimilate, but like thrive as well. Yeah, I was even at work when I was in banking, I was the only black person. At school, I was the only black person. You know, so there was many different situations, I think, where I was the only black person or I was the only African, and then I just had to. You can't just run away and hide at home and be like, I feel so different and everyone's looking at me. You know, you have to sort of carry yourself in a way where you're like, this is cool, you know, I'll manage. Yeah, I've got a lot of eyes on me, but, you know, I'll find a way around it, and I'll use comedy to make friends, you know.
And at your shows, you've got like a lot of Aussies in the crowd, right?
Oh, dude, my shows are all Aussies. That's crazy, isn't it? Like, I'm trying to convince black people to come to my shows, but it's not working. It's probably because the name Joe White is not very
yeah,
black.
bro. I heard the name. I was like, this is hilarious.
Dude, that's another story in its own.
How did you come?
Finish
Yeah,
the banking, the
sure,
banking story.
Yeah.
So I got a promotion at the bank, and I got to sit down with the CEO of the bank, and he was telling me what I need to do to be successful in life, you know, which is what he applies to be successful. And he's like, this is a man that makes millions of dollars, you know. So he's talking to me about the success triangle, and he's showing me how it works. And I'm like, great. And I use that now in comedy business, you know, the success triangle, which is the three things you have to make sure that your team, three things you have to tick when you give a project to your team to get the job done. You have to make sure they're clear, they're capable, and they're motivated. Yeah. And if they don't do the job after you've confirmed all these three things, then you got to fire someone. I was like, that's cold. You know, when he said that to me, I was like, but I like it. I'm going to apply it. And I got a promotion in the bank. And he told me to do a finance degree, so the bank was paying for like a portion of the finance degree. So I was set, but I started
with interest,
doing,
of course.
Yeah, I started doing open mic comedy on the side, you know.
Yeah.
And the open mic comedy, the response was great. It started to blossom, and I started doing solo shows. I started getting paid, and I was like, "Wow, this is amazing," you know. And I love what I do. But so when I'm at the bank, I'm going, man, I can't wait to get out of here so I can hit up an open mic. And so I used to hit up open mics fully dressed in suits and tie. And people used to go, wow, this guy takes open mic seriously. But I'm like, no, I'm coming from banking, corporate banking. You know?
You're real. You're keeping. You're actually living this like real life. And these people are probably like, oh yeah, let's see what he's about.
Yeah. And when I come on stage, like
you don't let it get
well.
to you. You didn't let the pressure kind of, because you've come from pressure.
Yeah.
And you've seen the way your mum and well, obviously your dad, he dealt with it for some time and then broke.
That helps, yeah.
But otherwise, there's two ways. You either break or you flourish.
And that experience definitely has strengthened me into being able to handle,
hecklers.
like difficult times. Yeah, hecklers. Yeah, when I get hecklers, I'm like, I've had it worse.
What are they saying to you? Like, what are some of the things they say?
Man, you know, the worst heckle I've received, someone goes, that's the worst heckle I've received. Like, when I'm on stage, they go,
fucking disgusting, bro.
And I'm like, God, dude, how do I handle this heckle, you know? And at times you just have to go turn on the lights and let me have a look at this racist piece of shit, you know? And then people will start laughing, because that's
you don't
just
want to give them a spotlight.
No, but sometimes if you do, it shuts them down. You know, they go, they hide, they don't want attention, and a lot of the time it's like, no, I was just joking. You know, like I didn't really mean it, and it just is what it is. But
my granddad worked in sales. He came from Guyana.
Yeah,
so he speaks like this. Man. You know, the Caribbean and the vibes and Guyanese and all this, right?
Yeah.
And he got a promotion, and what happened was the guy, there was a guy who was sort of jealous of him and said, oh man, you know, man, you sound like a monkey, man.
Yeah, damn.
But he looked like me, man.
Full
so
on, yeah.
like it's like
Yeah.
we got the accent, the Caribbean accent,
Yeah.
but even just the sound of the way he speaks, they're gonna pick up on that. And they said, "Oh, you
Yeah.
sound like a monkey." And he goes to him after he did his got his promotion. He said, "Yeah," he goes, "Yeah, man. This monkey's making more money than you, man.
Yeah.
And this monkey's going further than you." Like, so
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? There's people out there, man, and I think like, it can be racist. It can be just like people who just got chips on their shoulders, man, and yeah, there's something wrong with them, man, and I think like shining the spotlight on them and just you almost gave them like a religious experience, like, hey,
Yeah.
man, like.
And it's also
need
just
help.
handling it calmly, you know?
Yeah.
Like, because think about it, if someone pisses you off and it actually pisses you off, you know, there's a lot of chemical changes in your body, you know, fight or flight moments. And in that moment, we're not really thinking at our best, you know, we're not thinking clearly. So the game is he who cares less wins, right?
Yeah.
And so when I'm on stage and I'm performing and someone even like they yell out, I got called the N-word, you know, when I was at one of my shows, right? And people like suck the energy out of the room and you know, and they were looking at me like, why are you pissed off? I'm like, why would I get pissed off? Yeah, okay, what he's done the wrong thing, yes. And I will address what he's done, you know, and I'm just processing it right now. But the way I deal with things is calmly. I take it, I process it calmly, and then I respond, right? But I have to assess what's happening around me. So right now, you have to understand this person has called me the N-word at the biggest, third biggest comedy festival in the world, right? My show's sold out, and he said it. And he goes, I think you're funny because you're a, and he just bam, right? And everyone, you know, like you said, my whole audience is white. So the energy just, everyone's just looking at me like, what are you going to do? And I'm like, relax, guys. I know what I'm doing. And in my head, I'm like, I've never been in this situation before. I have no idea what I'm doing, but let's have a crack, right?
Wow.
Because I know I've got another half an hour left. So I can't just get angry, right? And then just be like, all right, let's continue the show. I don't think it will work for me. You know, like I like to like authentically have fun with my audience, not pretend like I'm having fun. If I'm pissed off, you'll see that I'm pissed off.
And you don't want to just kind of like allow it either.
Yeah. And you don't want to allow it because he's done the wrong thing, right?
Yeah.
And so this is what I'm processing in my head. Like these people have paid to come and see me. How do I
suck the energy out of the room?
He's a big dude, yeah.
You're probably in the middle of a joke,
yeah,
or like a bit. You're building up
Yeah.
to something,
and he's a big dude, you know. And so I'm like, I don't want to aggravate the situation and traumatize my audience. So there's nice elderly people in the front that I can see, and sometimes it's not like they don't have to encounter a physical altercation. Just witnessing rage and anger from a strong big guy, I think that in itself is enough to traumatize them. And I don't want to feed into that. Oh, we went to see a black guy and there was violence at his show. I don't want to feed into that stereotype, you know. So I was thinking, how do I handle this situation where not only are they safe, my audience are safe, but also that I speak to this guy and let them know that this is not okay before they leave, you know. And I decided
tell everyone that this is not okay.
Yeah, so
anyone watching.
So he was anyone watching. Yeah, so the guy was, you know, as soon as he said it, I was like, ooh, you know, look, you've sucked the energy out of the room. Why would you say that? That's a terrible word, you know. And he's like, nah. And I was like, yeah, that's terrible. It's like, ooh, don't worry, guys. I've got this, right? And I'll be doing I'll continue into the next bit, but then I'll do crowd work and I'll come back to him, you know? And so I'll do things like, oh, did you get belted growing up, you know? Because he's disrupting the show now. And he'll go, yeah. I'll go, oh, not hard enough, obviously, you know, just yelling out N-words everywhere you go. And, you know, and he'll go, no, I got hit. I go, oh, you got hit with what? Like a trust fund, you know, and people will start laughing. So I'm like,
bruh, killer shit, man.
So I'm bringing the show.
I need the horn.
So I'm bringing the show back to me, you know, like what we're there for, the main goal, which is laughter, you know.
But in like being a genius, like being intelligent, people respect that, man.
Yeah.
You're funny, but you're intelligent and you hit him with an intelligent joke.
Yeah, thanks, man.
double.
So,
that's a double.
yeah. So you got to win now, you know. But at the end, I'm still remembering. But I can't address this serious situation that just happened with just jokes, because then I'm not taking what he said seriously. Like, I have to actually show that I've been impacted by what he has said, you know, in a bad way, and that I'm not for this, and that he's right now. I like everyone except that person, you know, and because what they've done is wrong. So I've got this in the back of my mind. Obviously, people want you to address it this way and that way, and everybody has their own way. But ultimately,
like the people are probably thinking like, tell him to fuck off. Tell him to get the security to get him out.
Yeah, there was no security. It was just me, my sound lady, and my door lady, you know. And so I've got their safety as my like number one concern. Theirs and my audience.
You can't even kick him out.
Yeah, you can't even kick him out, right? So, you know, I'm doing jokes and I'm smashing him and everyone's laughing. And then at the end, I think now I can address it seriously because I'm leaving. The show's over, right? And I don't have to stand there and wallow in this weird vibe, right? Because it's hard to be so serious and then go, okay, back to the jokes, you know? And so I just said, guys, you know, I've had a great time with all of you today. You all have been amazing. I've enjoyed all of you except for one dickhead. And I pointed him out and everyone went, oh, and I started clapping. They're like, thank you for calling him out, you know. And I said, what he has said is not the right thing. You know, it's a word that's used to make black people feel inferior, and it shouldn't be okay. And then I just, you know, they clapped. I said, thank you. I left. And then they said he was actually waiting outside for me. So I was like, great, you know, because I wanted this conversation. Because now it's different because there's no audiences. It's just me, him, and his partner and my opening acts. So I've got backup if it escalates. I'm not scared of him. I wasn't even scared of him when I was performing and he said it. I was just worried for the safety of the audience who paid to come and see me, you know. And also I wanted them to remember a good night. I didn't want them to, you know, have spent time and money and getting babysitter and all that, driving out, parking, just to only remember, oh yeah, the show ended because some guy called him the N-word and Joe got upset and he yelled at him, and so we were just part of an altercation. I didn't want that
And
experience.
they don't want to come to another show because they're like, oh, I feel sorry for him. How can I laugh with him? Or something, or the vibes are weird.
The vibe's weird, you know. So I handed it in that way, so that everybody got what they came for. And then when he was outside waiting for me, I had that chat with him, and I told him it wasn't okay, and he said, "Oh, you absolutely killed it. That was an amazing show." And I was like, "No, you killed the show by making everyone feel so uncomfortable. You know, like people paid to come and watch me, and you know,
what a weak person. Like if he really stood by what he's standing for, he'd be like, you know what, I hate people like you. You're shit. Like if that's what he's carrying,
and it wasn't even
he's not even respectful. Like he's just like, oh nah, you were mad. Like what?
He wasn't even a racist. I think he just got overly excited and just decided to just call me the N-word. And I was like, why would you say? I really tried to understand, man. I'm not a violent person, you know. Like I can punch on, you know.
It's like saying someone's angry after a club. It's like, oh, I thought you looked at my girl wrong, and I punched you in the head, and now you're dead.
Yeah,
you're still a fucking murderer.
Yeah, so it's like people wanted me to get aggressive with him, but I'm like, I'm not a violent person. So I just asked him, why would you do it, man? And I really try to understand. I'm like, do you have black friends that you grew up with that told you can say it? And he's like, nah, man, I was just telling you how much I liked you. I thought you were great. And I was like, yeah, but you know, you shouldn't be using that word, man. And after, if you're gonna come back to my shows, you know, in future, I was like, you can't behave like that. You don't even go out there and say that word, you know. And he's like, no, I'm sorry, man. All right, I'm sorry. That wasn't my intention, you know. That wasn't my intention. I was like, okay, cool, you know. But in future, just understand that's where I stand. You can't say that word, and you know it's not the right word. And this is the history of the word, even though you think it's cool, you know.
Yeah, I've had like, yeah, obviously black friends say it all the time, and I'm like, sick. Like, sounds cool when they say it and that. But then like I've heard like white people say it too, and I'm like,
yeah. And you know there's consequences, man. We're all
like
humans,
I'm like I make it awkward for them.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just sort of like just stop talking to them. Like, because
there's many ways you can handle it. You know what I mean? We don't always have to resort to violence.
You have to understand, like, thank God that you're on this show. Like, look where you come from, man.
Yeah.
Like, not this word, but just where you come from. Like, just not only to say what he said, but just to interrupt a show.
Yeah.
If these people knew where you come from, they would shut up and just get drunk and laugh and be like, I'm crying and I'm laughing at the same time, like, and just be free. But that's amazing what you did, man. That's amazing how you diffused that.
I just, I handled it the way I would like it to be handled in the society that I want to live in, which is empathy, education, understanding, and moving forward, to a common goal, which is like, I want us all to get along, and we're not going to get along if you say something to me and my first reaction is violence, or harsh punishment. Like, there has to be room for me to try and understand why you're behaving that way. And see if there's anything I could do to help you understand what you're doing is wrong, and that you should meet me halfway so that we can get along. And I think that's what I did with him. But, some people agree, some people don't agree, but it is what it is. And I handle it. I mean,
Australia is built on convicts, man. There's fucking like just ruthless, just running up. I mean, it's horrible. Like the whole land, murders and horrible stains. But it's just based on like criminals coming to a country, just really degenerates in most cases, and just kind of ravages. Like the Vikings, it feels like people just went crazy. So that's what we're built on. Yeah, like Aussies. Half my family is Guyanese, so I have some sense in me. Yeah. my dad's side is Aussie, so I see.
That's why we have tall poppy syndrome in Australia,
Why would you say that?
A part of, apparently they say...
I heard there's a lot of it.
So tall poppy syndrome, where if you think you're hot shit, people are just like, if you're bragging on of how well your life is going, people are quick to knock you down. How well your career is going, people are just like, whatever, stop showing off, And they say it comes from the fact that Australia is built by convicts and not necessarily the aristocrats, the overlookers. So because it's built by convicts and they had that understanding that we're all convicts, everyone's shit stinks. Don't think you're perfect, or you're better than me.
Aussie battler.
Yeah, so then you had the aristocrats that probably all the convicts hated on, and the aristocrats were like, ooh, we're so fancy. And so nowadays it's like, if you're like, ooh, we're so fancy, my life is going so well. Oh, look at that piece of shit up there. Mate, you're a convict like me. They have that vibe, I guess, and maybe it's trickled down.
It's dissolving now, though.
Yeah, but
through art.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Okay, I agree.
Yeah, you would see. I mean, I see it too. This is what I'm. Good music. Yeah, you're the first music artist, and I would say comedy is an art. Would you say that comedy? Yeah, did you have to practice? You have to be sharp. Yeah. How do you practice, and how do you get kind of keep being funny and have the energy?
I think for me, I can't switch it off. Like, it's always in the background. I'm always trying to make jokes and be funny in the background. I can't switch it off, Like my partner, Melissa, she met my mom, and my mom was telling her about me, and she's like, oh, my son Joe, when we first come here and he go to school, he tell me he want to be model, but I told him, no, you're too short. And Melissa's laughing, and she goes, babe, did you know you wanted to be a model? And I was like, oh yeah, I do remember that part, And so then I said, oh, you know what? Mom didn't believe in me, but my teacher did, and took pictures of us and sent it away. None of the other kids got offers, but I got offers, but I didn't take them. And she goes, really? I go, yeah, they were all from UNICEF. I didn't take them. And so it's like, and then she laughed, and then I was like, oh, and she goes, you should do that on stage. That's funny. And I go, all right, I'll try it. So then I did it on stage, and it got laughs, and I was like, oh, that's great. I'll just continue that as a bit now, and that's how I got a bit. So it's really just from my everyday life. It's nothing. Don't sit down and go, I'm going to come up with the funniest joke. That's when you come up with the worst joke, or you have memory. You can't remember shit. Yeah. You just let it flow, man. That's art, yeah. Just let it flow.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing. Who are some of the comedians that you think do that really well?
Man, I think all the good writers.
Barron.
Who?
Carl Barron.
Carl Barron, yeah, in Australia.
I feel like you got to kind of. Yeah.
Carl Barron is really funny, man.
Yeah, man.
It's so dumb but so funny.
Yeah. But just that's the fabric of life. I feel like that's what you're doing. You're getting the fabric of life. It's so, for lack of a better term, black and white, A and B, B and A, whatever. It's just like yes or no, yes, whatever. Like it just becomes flip of the coin, right? It's
I had someone say that to me after a gig.
and then you break it down. It's like, nah, there's levels to this shit.
Yeah. Carl Barron's amazing. You know that bit he does where he goes, I was sitting I was catching a flight and the flight attendant came up to me and she said, Carl, would you care for an orange? And I said, yeah, if you needed me to. She's asking if he wants an orange juice. But he thought she was asking me if he would care for an orange. And he goes, yeah, I guess if you needed me to.
Yeah.
It's so simple, so dumb. It can go over your head if you're not paying attention.
It can. But I think he needs to say it.
Yeah.
The way he kind of is.
Yeah.
And that's a whole thing as well.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing stand-up for?
About almost 9 years now.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
you like this mastery level, so...
Yeah, I think 10 and above is when you can start,
Oh,
sort
for
of.
sure. It's like filmmaking, man.
Yeah.
It's like all the best filmmakers are like 50 years old.
Yeah, I feel like 10 and above is when you complete your apprenticeship. You know how tradies got 4 years and stuff? I think for comedians, 10 and above, then you've completed your apprenticeship. And, there's great things in the horizon for me now. But I'm approaching the 10-year mark and I'm very happy with where I'm at and what's coming. I'm going to Edinburgh in 2 days' time. Yeah. Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
You're from the flight. International. Wow.
So I'm looking forward to that. I leave on Tuesday. I go to London for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I go to Scotland to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival where I do a show every night for a whole month.
Every
night for a whole month.
Oh, man, I'm so happy for you, man. Like, because you're just going to be in a new place. You're expressing what you see. You're taking it, and you're so skilled in taking what you see during the day and kind of just feeding it. And then you have that ability, man. That's just like a flow state.
Yeah,
and,
thanks, man.
Yeah,
I'm really excited,
Yeah,
I've got a friend in Denmark. I'm going to go surprise him as well. I might go to Denmark for 2 days or something. He opened for me around Australia for 3 months when he lived in Australia for 2 years. And so he's like, if you ever come to Denmark, you have to come visit my family and me. So I'm going to surprise him for his birthday. He's got a 30th. And so I'm going to sneak over and just be like, surprise.
On the 30th of this month?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
And he'll probably start crying and be like, oh my God, I don't mean to be racist, but you look like my friend Joe. And I'll be like, it is me, idiot.
Yeah, so you wouldn't even realize.
I'm looking forward to it, yeah.
You should wear like just different kind of clothes or something, like trip him out. That'll be hilarious. That'll be good to film, man. Yeah.
Just see his facial reaction. He's a good guy. But Scotland it's the biggest arts festival in the world, Edinburgh Fringe Festival. And I think for comedy, when it comes to doing comedy festivals, and I've done all of them around Australia. And so this is it. This is the peak of comedy festivals, which is the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. And I've got the top 4 venue in the whole festival. There's like 5,000 plus shows. And so, the pressure is on, but I'm also like, yes, I want that pressure, Pressure makes diamond. So I'm like, I'm ready to be a diamond, I'm excited.
Wow, I'm very excited for you, man.
Yeah,
I'm
thanks,
very
man.
excited you could come down here and chat, man, and make the time,
Yeah, thanks, brother.
I really want to show film your special when the time's right.
Yeah, let's do it. I think I'll probably want to film about half an hour worth either when I come back or March or something next year for sure. Because that's the comedy festival in Melbourne days. It's going to be amazing. And then, you chop it up and put it online and, let people... Because this interview, like I said, people interview me and they go, man, you're going to be funny. I'm like, bro, I've got traumas and I'm going to share my traumas. That's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to tell you, the funny parts about them. And that's how... this has been like a therapy session for me,
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, no worries, man. Yeah, same. Yeah, just open my eyes up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Strange. Yeah. Yeah, awesome, man. Yeah, it's wonderful. And yeah, for those listening, Joe White Official Instagram.
Yeah, thanks, man.
That just go there, go to his shows if he's in Melbourne. You're lucky enough to get a ticket. Get that.
You haven't been to one in a while, have you?
I just
busy, yeah?
Yeah, it's been like doing this stuff, like being
Yeah.
a camera guy and filming, you're
Yeah.
always like just filming people. And like I DJ for 10 years, so I always play music for people.
Oh,
I'm always
nice.
filming people. I just want to
Yeah.
see, people happy. And I think, with the online thing, seeing all the numbers and stuff, I'm just like, like let's just keep making people happy and stuff. But I can't wait. It'll happen probably, towards the end of the year, summertime. I'll be able to get out more. I started getting out like a little bit this year and stuff, but then, like the subscribers keep going up, and then I've got, I've got a podcast going on, and I'm like, I've got to just kind of just work it out. I've got my daughter and life and school every day, pick up and drop off and everything, and the two dogs, and they're barking and one nearly biting someone, and I'm holding them back, and also
See, be careful what you ask for. That when the entertainment monster finds you, you got to keep feeding it. And so now it's like you've got this big subscribing, and they're like, we want more content. You're like, all right, I'll give you more. People think, just because now you blow up, it's going to be easier now, but it's not necessarily that. A couple of my friends, I was in America last year for 3 months. A couple of my friends, they had like 20K followers, and now they're on like 300K followers. And when I speak to them, they're just like, dude, the pressure is on now. We have to literally make sure we're writing new stuff every day. We got to go out. We got to hit the open mic. We got to make sure this stuff works, because when we go to a show, they've already seen it online, and we got to give them new stuff, And so you can just see that work, post, write, post. You can see the pressure, and they're not necessarily happier now that they're famous. They're more so like a little bit extra depressed now. But they've achieved, status.
But I'm chill, bro. Like at the end of the day, this stuff, these conversations, man, this is what gives me some purpose, man. Gives me like life, great experience. And then I love this is the platform, man. As I said, like what I say to people when I come into the show, I'm like, man, just say what you want to say to people. Like use it. Because I respect you. I respect these artists. I love the art that you guys do. It's like cool. Like let's get it. But now I'm trying to obviously the labels have been calling, and all sorts of people have been talking, and it's like I'm just gonna keep just doing this, but also take note, and like how you did, adapt and make sure you take like the triangle and have these structures in place and build a good team. And when we want to put on a show or have a comedian down, I'll give you I hope I'll send your manager an email and I'll give you a ring, bro. Man, because like then I'll have this kind of thing, and hopefully we can just inspire people to be better people and vibe.
It's why you do it, when like fame knocks on your door, or when you get status, or when the money comes, it can cloud a lot of your judgment, and you can behave in a way where it's not really you. You've seen something that you haven't seen before. You're experiencing something you haven't experienced, and all of a sudden maybe that triggers your alter ego, and you're like,
I had that in the 20s, man. That's
and
you probably had that when you're in your 10s or something. Like you've been through shit, and you're just a real person, man.
Man, comedians, if we're not careful, we're at risk of our egos constantly taking control. Because think about it. Every night, our job is to perform in front of strangers, and they're clapping and going, "You're amazing!" So when you get off stage, you're walking around like a golden goose, we call it. You got this aura around you.
Yeah,
and you're like,
man.
I smashed. I'm amazing. And so you're constantly, you have to go, just relax. It's cool. It's cool. You've done this before.
You can allow yourself. It is beautiful. What a great feeling.
You got to be humble about it. And so
you got to crowd surf one day, man.
Crowd surf, one day.
Oh yeah, we get you on like the swing.
Why not? I just remind myself. I'm like, why are you doing this? And I'm like, because I want to make people happy. Did you make people happy? Yes. Are you doing what you love doing? Yes. Just make sure you're always doing that. You're impacting in a positive way, but you're also enjoying yourself, and you're doing what makes you happy, and also like solidify, the relationships around you, the small groups that you have, like that you come up with, and I think that's very important, because in the entertainment industry, if you know your base and you're familiar with your base and you've strengthened your base, you know who your day ones are, who's got your back, who your friends are, what your values, your character is, what your upbringing has instilled in you, and so you know who you are. This is your base. You can wander. And when you wander, you don't go missing. You know where your base is. You always come back. You know, where if you don't have a strong base and then you go off into Hollywood and stuff, you never know. You could be out there selling yourself to get the next deal and stuff, you know, and it's like, why would you do that? You know, that's not how you were raised. That's not your values, you know. It's just you get taken up by this entertainment monster. So I think knowing your base and wondering you're able to come back.
Making positive change, having fun along the way, inspiring others, teaching people a lesson if they need one.
Yeah.
And making the world laugh. We got Joe White on another one for the road, man. Appreciate you coming through, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, brother. This has been amazing, you know. When I knew I could come down, I was like, hell yeah. Last time I saw him, 2019. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Get to hang out again.
Yeah, definitely, man. I can't wait to bring, you know, our platform to you because
yeah, hell yeah.
When you go and best of luck overseas, man.
Yeah, thanks, brother.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you, man.
Yeah, me too. I'm nervous, but I'm excited. You know,
yeah, the
nerves are they're a form of excitement. That's what I try to tell myself. Huh?
Yeah,
you're not nervous. You're just excited. And then you're like, I need to go shit my pants now.
Shake it.
Yeah, shake it.
Easy, man. Big ups, man. Much love, man. Peace, guys.
Thank you, brother.